Over 1,000 miles of paved and dirt roads, with 10 days to finish it all. This is the Smoky Mountain 1000. Most, if not all, of our adventures start with beautiful weather.
Welcome to Georgia.
But we can never get a break from traffic. Max was so bored that he won't stay in his car seat.
Sit in your car seat.
But as the traffic settles and the dirt rises, Max finally listens. We followed the steep and windy gravel road leading to the Cohutta wilderness area. This was a long 6-hour drive. We were all looking forward to setting up camp and enjoying a peaceful night by the fire. Good thing we reserved a campground for 2 nights in Lake Conasauga. This will be our starting point for the Smoky Mountain 1000. Not our usual remote and wild camp, but after long hours of driving, we don't feel like searching for camp for tonight. Surrounded by campers and kids playing on every corner, our first night was different from what we were expecting. Besides a surplus of tourists, Lake Conasauga offers several hiking trails. It is also home to the highest lake in Georgia at 3,150 feet above sea level. After hiking around the lake, I returned to camp to check if Max was ready for one of our favorite pastimes while overlanding. At only 19 acres, we did not take that long until we explored every corner of the lake. With that, we decided to start the Smoky Mountain 1000 trail.
Pack your bags and fire up the engine. Drive until your heart can feel the mountains. Drive until your eyes.
From our first camp in Georgia, the plan is to follow the trail clockwise, cross the border, and depending on the time of day, get to our second camp by the river somewhere in Tennessee. More than an hour later, we stumbled on this mini waterfall on the side of the trail. It's less grandiose compared to something like Niagara Falls. But how many out there can you drive and camp beside it for free? It was tempting to stay here, but we still got plenty of daylight and many more miles to cover.
I just keep on keeping on, keeping on. Yeah, I just keep on keeping on, keeping on. Yeah. Turning dust right into gold. If you don't know, now you know. I just keep on keeping on with the hustle.
From windy gravel roads the terrain got rockier, forcing us to go at a slower pace. Bumpy. Around this time, we're about 7 miles from our planned camp by the river. With the rocky terrain slowing us down, we will probably take another hour to get there. Quickly losing daylight, we settled on this camp next to a stream. We won't have neighbors this time, that's for sure. Finally, solitude. There's something magical about isolation, building a fire, and a cold shower out in the wild. Something we will never consider in our home with all the modern amenities. But out here, it just feels primal and surprisingly invigorating.
When everything else spins, can I know the way with their heart? Can I know the way with their heart? So slow me down, walk me through your river to calm me down to you. I'm safe and sound, but I don't even know it, so calm me down to you. Chasing money, chasing dreams, and chasing hearts, and everything between.
I think it's good. You don't have anything?
Yummy!
Gummy, so yummy with that pink marshmallow, pink bunny.
After a yummy breakfast, we continued on the trail, following Forest Service Road 221 in the Cherokee National Forest. Just in time, as it started raining.
Marshmallow, pink bunny. Yummy, so yeah. Yummy, so yeah.
It did not take long until the rain clouds were behind us. It was an excellent time to fly the drone. Or so I thought.
Did it crash?
Yeah. Broken.
Totally broken.
Yeah, I think so. That's some motor right there. After a crash course on how not to drive and fly a drone in a wooded area, it was time for Mom to take the wheel.
I'm having a taste of this Smoky 1000. We're going slow as a slug.
I wanna see it all. The world is open wide. I wanna feel alive. I hear adventure call. Hey, what are you saying? Feels like a perfect day. Get lost and find our way. We camp out in our cars, sleep under the stars. Feels like the world is ours. Oh yeah.
2 hours of dirt roads later, we're back on the pavement, passing through the Cohutta powerhouse facility. It wasn't long before we were back climbing the dirt roads of the Cherokee National Forest. Having experienced getting stuck in mud puddles in the past, we now always check the bottom, regardless of how shallow it might look. It's been 3 hours since I crashed our drone, climbed up and down an elevation, and met a few locals along the trail. It was time for a much needed break.
Yep.
After lunch, we continued following McFarland and Lost Creek Road. The smooth trail allowed us to shift to a higher gear. But this was short-lived, as we were eventually slowed down by a few shallow water crossings. I know this is a cliche, but hindsight is 20/20. If only we had stopped and camped here, I could have avoided another foolish mistake of backing our truck into a tree. But instead, we kept going. Exhausted and pushing 12 hours on the trail, we found refuge in what looked like an abandoned pond. I think we can legally camp here, but the vibe is just not right. Committed to finding a better camp, I jumped back in the driver's seat. Luckily, a few minutes later, we found a national forest campsite, just in time as it was about to rain. This day comes with an expensive price tag, but the memories we made were priceless. The best part is, tomorrow we get to start on a new beginning.
Hello? You're good.